Well, to our next story. You know, a political Freudian slip comes when a politician accidentally misspeaks in a way that reveals his true, often hidden unconscious thoughts or intentions. Peter Gregory Obi, in reaction to President Bola Tinubu's trip to Rwanda, contrasted his travel with state visits by leaders like Donald Trump, which translates to measurable gains. Obi thinks that President Tinubu traveled with his supporters. The presidency has reacted by slamming him. It accused Obi of being ignorant, lacking thought, and of being a deliberate political mischief. BKO, let's start with you. I'm wondering how you weigh in here.
No, this is not the first time that he will say things without thoroughly thinking through before talking. If you are trying to make the point that President Trump went with business leaders from his country, and that in the case of Nigeria, our president merely went with his supporters. It shows how thoroughly ignorant he is. Maybe he didn't even see a list of the people who accompanied the president. And his default mode is always to criticize. He criticizes every trip that the president makes. He does not think of the fact that those trips are capable of yielding significant economic gains for us. Every country in the world desires foreign direct investment. India is one of the world's big economic powers. I've seen their president asking for people to come and invest in India.
Yeah.
I've seen Americans going to learn to speak the Chinese language because they want to go to China to ply their trade. So economic migration is a global trend. It's not limited to our country. And countries seeking partnerships with other countries, countries seeking economic ties through strategic dialogue, cooperation, advancing our trade discussions, they are not new. So if you simply said, oh, our own president went with his supporters, whereas Donald Trump went with business leaders. Okay, what do you intend to call Aliko Dangote?
Okay.
The richest black man in the world, Africa's richest man, a big, big business player, both within and beyond the borders of our country. What do you call such a person? The other day, he was already thinking of going to start a refinery in, I think, Ethiopia.
No, Kenya.
Already.
Kenya.
Kenya.
Yeah.
I also heard about plans for Ethiopia. Okay, I know that he's been to Kenya. Yes. So there are other places. He's been to Tanzania, you know, to set up a cement company. So if you are saying Aliko Dangote, you see simply the president's supporter or a big, big business player in our continent. If not the best, at least is the richest black man. And that speaks to the scope of the business that he runs. We also have Isiaka Rabiu, Abdul Samad Isiaka Rabiu, the owner of PUA. He was also on the president's entourage.
Yeah.
Now you look at Isiaka Rabiu. Isiaka Rabiu is among the three richest men in Nigeria and among the richest in Africa. He is also a big industrialist. He was with the president. Tony Elumelu.
Tony Elumelu was there.
The owner of UBA. UBA is present in 20 African countries. is one of the biggest banks in our country. So that man, Tony Elumelu, was also on the president's entourage.
That's it.
And the president also went with Jim Ovia. So how many people are bigger than this in our country when you are talking about business players? Actually, Peter Obi needs to be spoken to, because every time he shows his acute lack of knowledge in some areas. And he thinks that simply by criticizing people, you will draw attention to yourself. But the truth is, going abroad to ask for investment is what other countries too are doing. What did Trump go to China to do? Is just to deepen trade. Nothing else.
Yeah.
So, and even Trump admitted that they didn't make significant gains. Because, for example, they didn't get as much support as he would have loved to get from China on the matter of Iran. So you see, when you go on these trips, sometimes you make big gains, sometimes you make little gains. But one thing is certain, the president's shuttle diplomacy has been able to bring significant investment into our country. If we have, as the president said, more than $20 billion in foreign direct investment in this year alone, the chunk of that coming from Shell.
What are we asking for again?
Yes, they are going to invest in our Bonga Southwest oil field.
That's it.
Definitely, you know that we are reaping the benefits of his diplomatic shuttle.
Yeah. Thank you, BKO. Wale, I called it a political Freudian slip. You understand what I mean?
We should locate this the statement from, the context of politics. Opposition groups all over the world, they tend to puncture, the weaknesses of the government in power. The strength of the government in power, they tend to turn it to disadvantage.
That's it.
So, but it's advisable that when you are in opposition, it's very important for you to have very good researchers around you.
That's it.
Because I don't think Obi has time to be watching television, to be reading all the papers. Some advisors will need to guide him on what to say. So either you are the president or the opposition leader, it's very important for you to have the right advisors. If you are not careful, your advisors can mislead you. So when you are giving a statement to issue out, you need to be very thorough, to investigate it very well. Because most of the time, these advisors are just, not deep. So they can easily mislead. Look at even what happened to President Trump when the South African president visited.
Yeah.
He was showing a picture to Ramaphosa, claiming that whites were being killed. But it turned out to be fake. So, leaders must be very careful, very meticulous. So when your advisor gives you a statement, you need to be very careful the way you need to cross-check the facts.
Yeah.
For instance, in September 2023, President Tinubu traveled for economic summit in India with 38 business delegates.
Okay.
From all over the country. And that coincided with the G20 summit, And also I traveled when he traveled to Paris, Jim Ovia was there to meet him.
Okay.
So I think it's wrong to say that, when he travels, he doesn't travel with businessmen. Even before he even assumed power, when he was in London, there was a troop of businessmen, that went there to discuss with him about the future of the government in terms of how to revive the economy. And you see, Trump is currently, I think should be back in US now. He traveled
he returned.
to China.
He returned, yeah.
He traveled with Eric Trump and Donald Trump. They are family members. Nobody is complaining in the US that, why do you travel, with your family members and all that. So there are more fundamental issues that we should, in terms of, and then when you are going to criticize the government, provide a viable alternative.
That's it.
Based on, research that you have a superior position. So it's not every statement that you just turn around to, because at the end of the day, the voters, the people are watching, and they are more intelligent most of the time than our leaders. So when you constantly make statements that are not real, that are puerile, that are not based on facts, you begin to lose some level of credibility. So the advice is that, his advisors should be more thorough next time when they want to issue a statement.
More circumspect. Are you surprised the presidency reacted by calling him somebody, a politician who is ignorant of the facts?
Yeah, of course. Basically, that is what it is. Because if he has the facts, he would have known there are a lot of businessmen, even from his own state, that have traveled, with the president on many occasions.
No. Let's look at it thoroughly. So, are you saying Peter Obi would have missed, as BKO said, Tony Elumelu, Ishaka Rabiu, the Buaman,
Jimovia,
and Dangote himself? Did he? Could you say those men are the president's supporters? What does he mean by supporters?
I think maybe undermines the intelligence of Nigerians, because we also read newspapers and we know what happens.
Yeah.
So sometimes our political leader might think that, people are not watching, let me just make a statement. But we know that this is not true. But on other issues, you can make statement that we are going to support you and say, opposition leader, you are actually making sense.
Yeah.
But on this particular case, I think it's over the bar.
Okay, BKO, but still pushing the narrative forward. We know that presently, Prime Minister Keir Starmer is going through a rough patch, but the opposition is not nailing him, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, the opposition has to be reasonable. You don't have to turn against your country just because you want to demarcate a government that is in power. You have to come up with ideas that are better than ideas being implemented by the government of the day. You have to do that. And if you can see the government is doing well in some areas, you have to commend them, because at the end of the day, it is for the overall good of Nigerians that governments are put in place. So whether you are in opposition or not, we all desire a better country. There's always room for improvement. It was a philosopher that said the room for improvement is the biggest room.
Always at the top.
So, yes, the room for improvement is the biggest room, because there's always room, in that room.
Yeah.
So I do not appreciate simply saying some things because you want to all get nice, and they said that he does not look at the facts, that it's just emotions that he's bothered about. That's how the presidential aides have described him, that he doesn't look at the facts.
Yeah.
But if you look at the facts, you see some of the businesses that our country has been able to attract as a result of the president going on these trips abroad. Those benefits will not come immediately. That is the nature of foreign direct investment.
Yeah.
They will come, but it won't be instantly. Yes, they are not like foreign portfolio investments, for example. Look at Brazil, for example. Investment is coming from Brazil, to boost livestock production in our country. A big investment. When the president went there, Petrobras, their own version of NNPC that we have here, their own state-owned oil company. Yeah, they are also coming to Nigeria to invest. I don't know how people will miss some of these things, except that they are just downright
cynical,
makers of unnecessary noise.
Yeah,
there is usually something to hold on to when the president goes on these trips. And in the fullness of time, Nigeria will benefit from this partnership, from these deals.
Thank you, BKO. Okay, to our next story, folks. For a country that